Okay, so I know I've said it in a few other videos. I'm kind of a little bit trying to get used to and adjusted to the torque curve of the Z06. One of my complaints is just getting in the power band. You got to kind of have to stay there for it to feel quick. And so in keeping with my plans to kind of keep the warranty for a little while, one of the first mods that I was thinking may help alleviate that is a throttle controller. And so reached out to Solar Performance. I've had one in the past on my C7 Callaway Stingray, and I felt like it made a decent difference. I know, like, actually power-wise, it doesn't do anything, but it just brings on the power quicker. And I know there's a lot of argument that you can do that yourself with your feet. But for my case, I drive very habitual. And the way I leave red lights and everything, it's the same way every time. It's a very gradual press on the throttle. This kind of helps alleviate some of those habitual things that you have with your driving habits. And so I want to put this on, see how much of a difference cranking this thing up as far as on the throttle response, how much quicker it makes the car feel. It may not make it feel any quicker, or it may make a big difference. I know I noticed a decent difference in the Stingray. Is it gonna make it any faster? No, but it's gonna at least have a seat of the pants feel and maybe make me be happy with the car. And that's ultimately what I'm wanting. So that was the reason for the purchase. So this is what comes in. This is the Solar Performance ships USPS. And in this box, it's very nice packaging. So this is what it kind of looks, almost like an iPhone kind of setup. It's very nicely packaged. And then your controller, which if I understand is Bluetooth, is right here. And I've actually got a download app, but this is what the controller looks like. And basically what it does is it plugs into your pedal. You know, it's a drive-by-wire, so there's just a connector there, and you're just gonna connect into that, and it's gonna piggyback off of it and just modify the signal basically. And it has like signal curves and stuff on the app that allow you to kind of adjust the rate of how fast it comes on, how slow, and even the ramp. And so there's, what I understand, lots of different modes with this thing. I think you have weather modes, you have track modes, you have a bunch of different ones to try out. We'll try those out and see what kind of a difference it makes on the street. And so anyway, so that's kind of my plan. But the module itself it's tiny. And it's got, looks like double-sided tape on the back of it, but this is kind of where we're looking at here. Little bitty thing. And then the connector, which actually looks like it's pretty high quality. This is your connecting. So it looks like a little bypass, and then it looks like it has one of the lightning USB connectors, I think. And that's where it plugs into here. And so you plug in, just bypass on the pedal, and then you should be good to go. I'm gonna read the instructions. I don't know if you necessarily need to. It's probably kind of self-explanatory. I think there's one bolt on the pedal, and once you undo the bolts, you can just pull it up and then do this. But the question is gonna be, where am I gonna put this? Because I think from what I've read, which don't quote me on it, but I think once you've locked in your mode, you don't have to run this continuously. You can disconnect and set that somewhere to the side, and once you've found a mode you're happy with, if you're not wanting to change it, and just leave that in the car. Which is probably what I'll do, because I don't know if I want this sitting around all the time, because I'll probably find a mode that I like, and I'll probably just leave it alone. I'm not one that's going to tinker. I'm very habitual in nature, and for me, that's probably, I know myself, that's probably how I'm going to go. But it does come with instructions, and they look pretty nice. It's also got some wire ties that are with it too. I'm assuming that's for the wiring harness. So it's got 2 wire ties, connector, piggyback, and then some, what looks like pretty nice instructions. Let's see here. These out. Get them out. All right. Yeah, so it just said USB-C port, and this is kind of a user's manual how everything works. It's like about what we explained. So a lot of this goes through the Bluetooth pairing part and the Apple Store app. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and download that app. We're going to take a break from here, and then I will disconnect the pedal, go through those steps, and once we get this installed, we'll go down the road and see kind of what kind of difference it makes, and then at the end I'll just say, you know, my thoughts on how it feels. All right, so let's get started. All right, so first thing is obviously it's probably disconnect the battery, because I think if you unhook the throttle cable while the system's charged, you can throw like a code on your next start you would have to clear. So for that reason, I'm going to disconnect the battery before we do this. But there's, I've never done this on this car yet, so this is kind of new to me. Looks like this piece pops off. This goes the other way. It's got a little push pin. You just pull them and push them forward. You don't need any tools. And that pops off, and that gives you access to here. And I'm assuming this is going to do the same thing. It's going to be push connectors. It should pull that off. There may be a better way to do this. I don't know. This is just the way it seems like it goes. And we're going to pull this out, and I'm just going to disconnect the battery. Now the same thing over here, so it's the same piece. It pulls out. Push pin. I don't even know if you really have to have the whole thing off, probably not. Alright, so then there's your whole panel, and this is what it looks like. You have access to the battery, and there's your battery right here. So I'm just going to disconnect just for ease of use and I'm going to disconnect the negative terminal here. And once I got that disconnected, we'll get started on the inside. Okay, so battery, negative terminal is disconnected. It's 10 millimeter as of most batteries, 2 seconds. So that took all in all like a minute to get that done. So now we're gonna go back into the car. All right, so a couple things. Move your seat back before you disconnect the battery and move your steering wheel up. I didn't do that, but that's fine. I'm a small dude, I'll be fine. So anyways, it's a little tighter than it normally would be. So you got one bolt here that looks like it's probably a 10, I'm guessing. We'll see. I'll let you know here in just a second. So that bolt's gonna come up, and then I should have access to the connector. Its connector's over there. Make things a little easier. So let's go ahead and take that out. Okay, so like I said earlier, make sure you adjust your steering wheel on your seat before you do this. So anyway, I've got the bolt out. It's got 10 millimeter. It sits in here, and this is the cover for it. It just pops out. I don't think you actually need to take it out. I got to the connector behind it. It's just got one little red put. You can feel it with your finger. Pop it back from the corner, and it dislodges. So that's all we need access to is here. So I don't see that I have to pedal out per se. So that may be like a redundant step. So anyways, let's go ahead and plug in. Okay. So I'm gonna take the male and then the female, plug that one into there. Okay. So and then this piece is going to go into here, which I guess it allows you to pull it forward. So it is good to take that bolt out at the top, even if you don't take the whole thing out, because it allows you to pull it forward. Just makes things a little bit easier. All right, I'm gonna set this down for just a minute, but basically you're going behind it, plugging in, and I'll show you what the setup looks like that we get out of here. All right, so we're in. That took like all of 2 seconds. So the question is, where do you want to put the harness? You can place it behind there and run everything up. That's actually probably the better way. And I'll probably just go ahead and redo this, and I'll slide that connector back since I had this carpet up, and I'll put it behind there. That way that's all hidden behind, you don't see it, and I can just run the wire up through here and it falls around, and technically it'd be hidden at that point. So hang on one second, I'm gonna do that real quick and come off camera. Oh yeah, so much better. So I just pulled the existing wiring harness behind the carpet, pulled the carpet forward, plugged it up there, slid the new harness up, and then plugged it into the back side of the throttle area. So that was easy. I mean, this is like a 5-minute ordeal. And so now I've got the wire ran, and I've got this. I can put this anywhere. I can mount it here. I can mount it down there out of the way. Mount it a lot of different places. I actually could drill underneath and put it inside the box. I don't know which way I'm going to go with it yet. I'm going to leave it out here for just now while we're messing with it, so I'll figure out like the best spot for it. But let's go ahead and let's go over the app, because I've got the app downloaded now, and we'll look at that and kind of go from there, and then we'll go give it a shot and go down the road. So easy 5-minute install. Okay, one tidbit. You don't have to take the whole thing off to get to the battery. Just pop this corner off right here. pop this side, pop it out, and then just pull this up, and then you can just stick your hand in there and disconnect the negative terminal. So really you don't need to take the whole thing off. But even if you do, it's like, it's, you know, a minute. So. Okay, so we got it installed. It wants you to start the car. I'm gonna hold both these buttons together and it gives you this code. I just did it a minute ago, so that's why it's still on there. So choose your port. This is the app. So it's got, keep in mind I'm not throwing any lights or anything like that. So we're going to go on our test ride here in just a minute. And I'm going to go ahead and go to sport mode. This is where I'm like, if you notice there's dials here, we can turn it up and turn it down. So I'm assuming this is like how fast you want that mode to be. So we'll play with this here in just a little bit. Alright, so let's see here. Let's get this thing rolling. Alright, so here's the app. You can do this from here. I don't have it mounted yet. I'm not sure where I'm going to mount it, if I'm just going to set it in one mode. I'm probably going to set it in one mode. But it kind of tells you on here what mode you're in, and so you can do all this from the device itself. Or you can do it from your phone. Either way you want to do it. But I'm going to show you from the phone. It's just driving because it's just kind of neat. So I've got it in Sport 9 right now, okay? So let's go to original equipment. I want you to watch how it drives at baseline, all right? There you go. All right, just watch my normal driving. And I'm gonna try to drive it the same way the whole time. And you can kind of see as I go, I'm just kind of like a little soft. That's how my normal throttle response is. Very docile, mild, at least leaving here, so. You know, it just feels, you know, whatever. Now, that's me coming out of the driving. So when I get up here, I'll change to sport, and I want you to see the difference in aggression. So now we're in sport mode. Now I'm getting a little more throttle because I've got to pull out and I'm not going down my driveway, but I'll show the car coming. Yeah, I'm barely pressing throttle here. And you can see just like the aggression there. Way more aggressive. And I don't have it floored by any means. It's just getting there, it gets there quick, it's just responsive. Like there was a car coming at that moment. And normally I would have had freaked out and gone way to wide open. I didn't even have to go to wide open because of how aggressive this sport mode was at getting to the throttle there. I didn't need it. And there was a car behind me. I live kind of in an area where there's kind of a blind spot when you pull out. And so, anyways, that was like a good example. So let's go to comfort mode. All right, so this is turns it down a notch. Comfort's 2, and you can turn all these modes up to make them a little more aggressive. But so now I'm in comfort mode. I'm giving it throttle. You can see very linear, just kind of slow. It'll go when you give it, obviously give it throttle way down, but very slow to engage. So this would be like an eco version, I think, because it's just, I'm giving it throttle. See, I'm giving it quarter throttle. It'll downshift and it'll do everything else, but it just feels real lazy. I mean, I don't know why you'd want comfort mode, but maybe if you had like an old person in your car, you didn't want to scare them, maybe comfort mode might be a good one. I have no idea. I'm not going to say this mode long because it's boring. So let's go to the ludicrous mode. So I'm barely pushing the throttle here. And you can just tell, even like, that's less than 20% throttle in ludicrous mode. And it acts pissed off. So let's go to dragster mode. It doesn't have a number on dragster mode. I don't think you can pick a number. But it's like, I mean, it's ready to rock. And I don't feel like my throttle position is changing much from where it normally is. And you can just see the RPMs and everything. It just feels so much different. So we're gonna go to economy mode. All right, here we go. All right, now it's economy mode. Ooh, wow. And so I'm pushing it all the way, almost halfway down in economy mode. You know, this must change
the distance of your pull and when it kicks in, just like with a huge delay. Because this is economy mode, me pushing it halfway, and see how long that takes to get moving. I mean, if you really were in a pinch and had low fuel and you threw it in that, it's going to force you to get better mile per gallon. I can just tell that already. So let's go back to drag strip mode. My favorite, I've already know. See, that's same throttle, just drag strip mode, and it just took off. Same throttle as I was in economy there, and I was consistent. So now that's way more aggressive than I want to be. Like it feels like this thing is mad, like an angry bee. Let's try sport. Okay, so this is the mode that I've run it in the most. I have the most experience in, and I'm telling you, this mode is phenomenal. Like it drives smooth. It's not like too pissed off, but it feels mad. I just love the way this feels. This is how I feel like the car should have come from the factory. Now keep in mind, let's see, what mode am I in now? I think I'm in my Tour, and the car itself, let's see. The car itself is in, no, it wasn't Tour. What was that? That was my mode, okay. My mode has exhaust, I think, open, but it's very, you can see over here, it's like kind of a mild mode. Let's just go to sport, so just to make everything kind of equal playing field. So here's Tour, so you're gonna watch it in Tour. That'll be kind of standard for everyone because my mode's a little different. So I'm trying to make this at least somewhat of a consistent test. All right, so I'm sitting here, I'm going 62, I got a little bit of quarter, I'm putting in traction mode. You can just feel it, just leap forward. I'm gonna go back to sport. All right, and now I'm gonna go back to stock. Here's original equipment. We're gonna pull out over here in original mode. This is what it does. So this is kind of like earlier when I pulled out, and you can see a difference here. Just feels laggy and just feels gross. It's slow. It just really does. And that was my biggest complaint, is the car felt slow. I put in sport. You're touching it, it's just moving, it's quick. It feels like a pissed off supercar in sport. And like I said, I don't have a lot of experience in track mode. We can put it in OE equipment track mode and compare here. Let's see. So I've got it in track mode. One thing I noticed immediately in track mode to downshift, it didn't do that with this. So that was the big thing I think with the throttle controller, is like, see, now I'm having to stay way in the R's to be aggressive. And you didn't have to do that with this sport mode because it did it with the throttle. So it allowed you to stay in the regular modes, keep the RPMs down, not drive around screaming, the engine screaming its head off, to be aggressive. And so that's what I think is the big benefit to this is. So let's go back. So I'm back in Tour. You can be in Tour mode, have the RPMs down, and it still be pissed off and still feel fast. See, like it'll drive RPMs down just like you normally would in Tour mode, but it's mad. It's like it's mad all the time. It's like it's in Tour but in track. And I know you can customize a lot of this stuff. Like I get that. This thing's very customizable, but what's easier than 5 minutes putting this in and then clicking a button and it's done? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to mess with you don't have to make changes, you don't have to refine it, it's like it's done for you. So I like that. This is the mode, I'm gonna leave it in this mode. I'm gonna unplug the controller. This is gonna be what I'll be in all the time. This is, to me, the perfect mode for this car. And just to show you, I'm gonna floor it right now, I'll just kind of give you an idea here. I mean, I love it. This is it. This is where it's at. Now everybody's got different tastes, so you might want it to run around in ludicrous mode all the time, or maybe you're like 85 years old and you want to run around in comfort all the time. I don't know, but for me, sport is perfect. Perfect. So I definitely, at least from what I've experienced over the last couple of weeks, I'm not taking this thing off. This is staying on my car. I love it. Makes a huge difference. The only thing I'm gonna do now is just get a little bit more of the sound, I think, and then maybe consider performance mods depending on like the warranty kind of stuff. I'm trying my best not to break the warranty, but I historically have issues with not modifying things all the time. So anyways, so that's it in a nutshell, and I've got to do some more driving here, so I'm gonna get off here. Let me know what you think. I recommend, definitely get it. I love it. It's and like I said, best part about it, you have this, you can mount it, and you can do it all yourself from here. You don't even need your phone. That's just something that, it's a nice little feature, and I think that's what separates this at the price point from the others, is that app. So anyways, all right, let me know what you think.